Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking Trotters. Tonight, it's a pre-record. I didn't go live on the YouTube due to some work commitments and other things. And it's not on a Monday. It's on a Thursday, simply because I was coming home from Queensland. I was recently up in Chinchilla for the camp draft, and it got delayed, so I didn't get home till late Monday night. So I was unable to pre-record one there, and then other commitments just made it a little bit tricky. Glad to have it out on the eve. Bit of Christmas Eve for a lot of trotting people, with the Redwood Carnival beginning tomorrow, 9 races tomorrow, and then culminating on Sunday with the Redwood Classic, and also the On a Streak Haras Trotters Victorian Trotters Derby, which will be running. That's at 10 to 5. I'm just sorry about that. 3:34. It is the Old Barron Park Redwood Classic. Wasn't sure on the sponsor, so I did hesitate a little bit. Got a great field for the Redwood Classic. Terrific lineup of 2-year-old trotters. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Won't be going into too much detail today. I am looking forward to it, though, with some real up-and-comers, rocking with attitude for young Jaden Barker. And there's quite a few other horses there that are doing a terrific job. What's Up Party Time, Ricky Auction, 1 start, 1 win, so that'll add a bit of intrigue. And then we go to the On a Streak Haras Trotters Victorian Trotters Derby, which has got a terrific field. Favourite at the minute is Cravache Dior for Haras Trotters, Anton Galino. Coming out of barrier 3, definitely got the barrier advantage over the other 2 heat winners, with Courage Stride drawing 10 and Harry Stamper drawing 13. But there's quite a lot of intrigue, good quality field. Toro Stride, a very high priced horse from New Zealand, purchased for Emilio and Mary as well. Chris Lang has actually got 3 in it, so good race. A lot of intrigue, a lot of fun about that race coming up. Say there about On a Street, you get the opportunity to get a service fee, buy a service fee for $50 donated by Haras Trotters and the Victorian Square Trotters Association, or the VSTA. $50 a ticket, 100 tickets only, gets you the free service fee to On a Streak. There, if you're lucky enough to have your name drawn out, you'll win the raffle to On a Street. So $50 a ticket, only 100 tickets, terrific prize. All money is donated to the VSTA to put to races and that. So well done to Pat and everyone. Get in touch with any of the VSTA members going around. There's Mick Barbie, Anne-Marie Conroy, and Katrina Fitzpatrick, who, on a little side note, celebrated her first Melton winner the other day with Kai Valley Surf Rider. I'm not exactly sure which horse it is, Surf Rider or Surfer Girl, doesn't matter. Well done, Katrina. And you would have thought there, the way Mick Bellman's getting himself a little kiss, that he actually drove it. Chris Alford drove it. So well done to Chris, and congratulations, Katrina. Speaking of Chris Alford, Greg Sugars, and Jason Ainsworth are part of my interviews for tonight's show. So please sit back. They'll be coming up very, very shortly. So you won't have to just listen to me wobble on. A couple of little housekeeping ones. As I said, brought to you by harastrotters.com.au to view the full stay-in list, and that there with Haras Trotters. Now, on Redwood Day, they will be there. They'll set up a tent with the VSTA and I think someone else, but I'm not sure, overlooking the parade ring. And they'll be there, and of course you'll be able to see the team headed by Louise Toolman. Bianca Brio will be there. David Brio will probably be there as well, and Pat. And anyone that books a horse to any of the 3 chilled seamen horses standing here in Australia this year, so On a Street, Classic Connection, and Used to Me, if you book to any of those, 5% of that service fee will also go to the VSTA. So it's a huge amount that Pat is actually contributing, or Haras Trotters is actually contributing to the VSTA over this weekend. So it pays to be a member. Sign up, become a member, get into the marquee at the VSTA. I have got their, I think it's this one here, that's their website, so victrotters.com, to find out how to become a member. $30 a member. And then also you have the opportunity to be a part of a growing trotting organisation. But yeah, with the support of Haras Trotters, Pat Driscoll, and what he's able to do, it is growing from strength to strength. So just to make sure people are aware of that, 5%. So if you book into Used to Me, Classic Connection, or On a Street, Classic Connection and On a Street standing in New South Wales, and Used to Me will be standing in Victoria. All eligible, all those horses are also eligible for the race series that is going to be run in conjunction with Cobbity Farms and Pat Driscoll. So any horse standing Any horse, sorry, you breed to any of those horses this year and you're eligible to go into the draw for us, go to the race, $75,000 Colts and Geldings final and a $75,000 fillies final. Breed to any of those stallions, either chilled semen or the frozen, and you'll go into that, contact Trotters.com.au or cobbetyfarms.com.au. Just going to quickly look at it, cobbettyequine.com.au. Sorry about that, Cobbity Equine that is, and Trotters.com.au. So don't forget that race series as well. So you get to book in, as I said, 5% of your service fee that you book in for on the Sunday when you see the team there. We'll go back to the VSTA, and then they have also got this beautiful raffle of a free service fee to On a Streak going there. Right, tonight's guest, Jason Ainsworth, is going to join me very, very shortly. Top off the rank. He doesn't win any big races at the minute. He will. He's a determined young man. He's doing a great job. Presents his horses beautifully, and he does a good job. Seems to have winner after winner every week we do this show. So I caught up with Jace, which was terrific. Caught up with Chris Alford after the win of Aldebaran Zeus in the True Roman the other night, and then also Greg Sugars as well. So I'll throw firstly to the interview with Jason Ainsworth, and I'll be back very, very shortly. Talking Trotters now, catching up with Jason Ainsworth. Firstly, hello.
Hello, Paul. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. I go through quite often at the end of the show and go through quite a lot of the results, and I reckon every week, I've only been doing the show about 5-6 weeks, but you keep popping up with a name. It's not a big name. It's not one of the Inter-Dominion finalists or the likes, but you just do a great job with what I think is a small team of Trotters.
Yeah, we seem to have them getting to the line nice and strong every week. So, when the right race comes up, they sort of perform and get the job done.
How many are you working?
Natasha and I are doing about 23 at the minute.
Oh, you're doing a fair few?
Yeah, and Natasha's still working in the morning for Peter, so she's sort of pretty busy, and then she comes over and helps me afterwards.
Yeah, you keep on the chop. You shoe your own, I think, too, don't you?
Yeah, I do all my own. Learnt that craft, unfortunately, but you sort of have to nowadays to try and make a bit of money here and there.
Your family come from Western Australia. You're more noted with the young horses, I suppose, initially. Where's the love of the trotter come from for the Ainsworths?
I think it's just that patience that you sort of need. You can sort of spend a bit extra time to get them going, and then you get a bit more of a reward from it. So I think that has always sort of suited our style of training with the family, and not rushing them, and just sort of getting the best out of every horse if you can.
So why the Trotters though? What do you like? Do you love the Trotters, or is it just purely it's how it's ended up?
Yeah, you do love them. I think they probably, they give you more grey hair than not, but, there's something about when you can get that rogue trotter sort of going clean and hitting the line that sort of makes it worthwhile.
You got more hair than me, and it's jet black. I don't know how you're going grey, so you must be actually enjoying it. How many 23 in work? How many Trotters would you have?
Probably half a dozen at the minute. There's sort of a few younger ones starting to come through, so probably half and half.
You've got quite a few, I suppose, tried horses and horses that other people have had, and they're on lowly marks. You're trying to aim to get, the answer would be yes, but you're aiming to get, better performed horses?
Yeah, obviously, we want to be at the top like everyone else. So, we just got to sort of work through the ones we've got and try and breed some better ones, and hopefully we can get the better quality down the track.
You've had a couple from Haras Trotters with nice breeding behind them, but not necessarily the manners, and you've been able to work through those guys okay?
Yeah, just more time than anything. Just that taking the time with them, they come good if you can just be patient and let them come, to their own sort of gate when they're ready.
You said there before about young ones. Are you buying like young ones or breeding them? Like, have you got a plan to? Because sometimes it's hard. It's easy to say go and buy them, but the market now for trotters has got so expensive. So are you trying to breed them, or are you trying to buy them, or a bit of both?
A bit of both. You're always sort of looking around for that nicer breed of a trotter here and there that sort of comes up. But we have sort of last couple of years looked at breeding a few more, and we got one to foal this year. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years we'll have a few more younger ones.
Is it hard for a young bloke?
Yeah, it's always hard. Everything you do is hard. It's sort of hard to get your name out there. It's hard to sort of cover your cost every week. But if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing something else. So
Jace, thank you. You got to go and put a pacer around. So this is Talking Trotters, mate. We don't have to talk about that. You got to go put a pacer around. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for everything you're doing. I reckon you're doing a great job, mate, and keep up the good work. And hopefully one day you can get yourself a nice, well-bred youngster and go right through the grades and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Paul.
Well, we're back, and thank you very much, Jason. And as I said, he just had to cut that a little bit short because he had to get his horse into the cart and on the track. It was a pacer, so we don't promote the pacers too much on Talking Trotters. It is all about the Trotters. Next, I caught up with Chris Alford. As I said, True Roman horse. It's got a lot of, a very soft spot in my heart because I was fortunate enough to work with him with Graham Johansson back when he was low flying. He won the Bill Collins Mile, I think, while I was there. Second in the Australian Trotters Championship as well. He was just a super old horse, just an absolute warrior. And anytime I see his race there, I think it's great. And it was good to see Chris Alford win it with Elderbaron Zeus. But I caught up with Chris, I suppose, to discuss a little bit more about the path that both these horses, Queen Alida and Elderbaron Zeus, are heading. Both 4-year-olds. One's going to the Inter-Dominion, one's not. The colt is not. The filly is. And it's just good insight that Chris gives us as to why they've chose this path. And they're going to be two really nice horses to be able to follow towards the end of the season as the season really starts to hot up. So I'll throw to that interview now, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Talking Trotters, catching up with Chris Alford here at Bendigo after the True Roman on Saturday night, a race that special to me. I'm sure it's special to Chris after Saturday night. Elderbaron Zeus, he was brilliant, mate.
Yeah, he was really good. Found the lead, which was good, but he copped a bit of pressure and fought it out well.
He's I suppose his program's been fairly well mapped out. I was surprised when I saw that he wasn't in the Inter-Dominion, even in the nominations. Even there's quite a few horses scratched straight away, but there's no intentions of putting him against the big boys. They've mapped out their program with him, and they're going about it very well.
The space he runs out. He doesn't have a lot to race against. As a 4-year-old, he was right up in the ratings. So the only races he could virtually run were age group or the free-for-alls. So they've picked it out really well, and try and split him from a leader, which is good for me. And Duncan just felt that the 4 runs in 2 weeks as a 4-year-old was just a bit much.
He looks funny. He looks a handful to drive, but he also looks sensational to drive, and especially when you say go and he goes.
Yeah, no, he's pretty cruisy. He only ever had one bad run. Not a bad run. He ran second in the Derby, but he pulled his head off that day. But every other time he's been perfect.
So he doesn't pull? Like he looks so strong and up and going, but he doesn't pull?
Nah, not really.
He's a lovely horse. We're going to get someone giving us a hard time. That's all right. As a 5-year-old, the way they're mapping things out, he's going to have a lot of fun, isn't he? Like going through the grades next year. Well, not going through the grades, he'll be through them, but just maturing up.
Yeah, well, it's sort of been a good year for the 4-year-olds because, the benchmark ones have all sort of dropped off the map or retired, like, Tornado Valley, McLovin, even Wobbly to a certain extent. They're not around anymore, so it's the 4-year-olds that are, going to be the ones to follow from now on.
I'm not going to ask you, how good he is. You've driven a lot of good horses. Does he have what it takes to take that extra step, like, the Noopies and those of the world?
Probably driven more conservative, maybe, because he's so much better with the sitter, even though he can lead, and he has that parked out first up this time in and won, but it was mainly just a speed race at the end. So driven, a little bit conservative. He's always going to be in the finish.
Can I ask a question that's a little bit off topic in a way? With the trotter, with the paces, people say, you can just feel. What is it that makes a trotter that next levels, those wobblies, those Noopy kiosks that you've been a part of? What is it that makes them that next level up?
Well, pretty much it's mainly, I would say, their gait and how they drive. The ones that are good to drive like that, you can just drive them like a pacer and put them where you want, stop, start, go, things like that. Well, I think that makes the difference.
Because there is a big jump, isn't there, from a very good horse to that X-Factor horse?
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of good free-for-allers around, and you look at Nephew Sunoco. He was battling around there for a while, then he hit a purple patch and won 5 or 6 metros in a row, and he looked the best around when all the good ones dropped off and none of the 4-year-olds were wasting him, and now he's just back to being one of the bunch again. So he's a nice, great horse. He's done a great job for Ross and that, but he's a level below, the Zeuses and the leaders and that.
You can't say he's not a superstar horse, and especially Ross. He's a great, very, very good horse. But that's what I'm saying. That X that makes the difference. Sometimes, like you say, when the good ones aren't there, they look it. But once the good ones come back, it can change. Speaking of good ones, she didn't race last weekend, and I've been meaning to get you on for a chat, and I want to spend a little bit of time about her. But Queen Alida. She's effectively a 5-year-old mare, but she's only a 4-year-old mare going into the Inter Dominion. What's the difference between her and Zeus?
I think more how relaxed she is that, and different owners of course, but that she never knocks herself around. She always has a little bit left in the tank when she finishes her race.
So you don't think the 4 races in 2 weeks is going to worry her?
No, not at all. She's just so casual. She just push button. You can sit her 3 wide or in the death, and she'll just sit there as flop along, and then when you say go, she goes. So she doesn't come off the trail and just need to go straight away. She can just pull out 3 wide like she did last time and sit 3 wide from the 800 to the 200, and then just say go, and off she goes.
You've driven a lot of really good horses. Most of them are the boys. Is she up there, is the best mare you've driven?
Yeah, well, Spider Girl, she was great, 2, 3 and 4-year-old, and then went a miss before she got to really the free-for-all grade. But, I'd say she'd be the best trotting mare I've driven for sure.
You're a champion driver. Geez, you've driven some lovely trotters. When you forget them, you forget, and you can't. That's experience and that. Are you looking forward to the Inter Dominion? You're looking forward to the back end of the season in a way because they have separated Zeus. He's not going into it, so Breeders' Crown size stakes for him. You're looking forward to the end of the season?
It should be really good. You've always got to have luck because they're hard races, but I've got 2 good horses to drive, and I wouldn't want to switch them for any.
Big rap for Lils too. If I said to him I want to do an interview with him, I know what I'd get told. Just doing a master's job with these 2 horses though, isn't he?
Yeah, not only the training, Trace does a lot of the work with both of them. I don't think Lil gets to sit on them, so she should get most of the credit there. But, they have them right on the night, and they may have a trial, may not have a trial, in between. But when they're right, they're right.
What does he like to drive with the Trotters? If you get beat on them and that, you come back. Does he ever get grumpy? He never seems to.
He hasn't said anything directly to me, but I've seen him go a bit cranky. Like if you do something wrong, like pull one out sideways at the top of the straight before it's balanced up, and they gallop, or pull the plugs when they're not balanced and things like that, and they break. And I'm sure he puts in a lot of work and doesn't like to see it mucked up by a driver doing the wrong thing. But he's never actually yelled at me, and he's been really good.
Too big to yell at you. You'd be like me, would have to run really fast.
Too true.
Indeed. Mate, very quickly, Redwood. How many Redwoods have you won? Maidstone Miss. How many others have you won?
Maidstone Miss, Wobbly. I think Stormblazer won it for Noel and Jane a fair way back.
Yep. So 3 of them. You got to drive this weekend?
One Cameron Maggs. He went really well last week, SK Hollywood. He just shied at the start and mucked up, so he can't afford to do that. But he's probably not good enough to win unless, we know what the Redwoods like. Things can happen. But he does, have the ability to things go right, that he'll be right in the finish.
As long as I've known you, you've been sitting on it. I reckon you've always had a good trotter in your camp. Do you look forward still to like Redwood Day? Once upon a time, all trotting days were very, very rare. Now we have them and we don't even give it any fanfare, but is the Redwood Day still one of those very special days?
Yeah, it is. You like to get there and get the first one around trotting anyway. Nothing worse. I think my first couple of Redwood days, I might have had 4 or 5 drives and galloped 4 of them and got beat on another one or something like that. But, you like to get there and hope to get them all around trotting. And it's a great day, and, everyone loves their trotters now, and just getting bigger and better.
They are indeed, Chris. Thank you very much for joining me, mate. Good luck towards the end of the season with those 2 horses. I won't annoy you too much because I think a lot of people will be wanting to do a lot of interviews, but thank you very much.
No, thanks, Paul.
Big thank you to Chris Alford. Great insight there about these 2 horses, and it's going to be exciting. We only got 8 weeks to go to the end of the season, so those horses are going to be racing a lot. The Inter Dominion's on our doorsteps. Breeders' Crown's about to start. Then we also have the Vic Bred, and we're going to be able to see those horses going around. Plus, a lot of these horses going around in the Trotters Derby and the likes going forward as well. So plenty of really, really good racing, really high-class racing. The Inter-Dominion, unfortunately, was marred by a few scratchings already last week when the second declaration came out. Mari Law, of course, being withdrawn. Olivici also withdrawn out of the race series as well. But still, Greg Sugars has a really, really strong hand in it now, qualifying 2 horses with 1 overall, qualifying or getting up into the point ratings enough, especially after his win in the Geelong McNamara Cup last weekend. And then also Just Believe, and I've been fortunate enough to talk to, I suppose, Jess Tubbs and that, but good to get a bit of insight from Greg, and he also gives a little bit more insight into Cognati, who's going around in the Redwood on the weekend. Talking Trotters, catching up with Greg Sugars here at Bendigo. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Paul.
I want to catch up with you about a few of your trotters. I've been trying to. I did a beautiful interview with Jess. You won't rate as well as Jess, that's for sure. She spoke very well, and it's a great family environment that you guys have there at Lara J.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I'm well aware that I won't do as good a job as her, but I'll give it a crack anyway.
Just very quickly on that, happy birthday to Mum the other day too. I was in Queensland, but I did see it on Facebook. So yeah, and I love this thing's the number one person behind the team. So well done to there.
Absolutely.
Trotters are going sensational. Want to just cover off on a couple of them. Firstly, 1 overall. I saw him at a trial at Melton. He was a very naughty boy that day. Didn't partake in the race at all, but he's come back in terrific form. You must be wrapped. You must have been wrapped with his win in the McNamara Trotters Cup the other night at Geelong.
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting to see what we're going to get. Actually, his first start was at Maryborough, and his trials this time in, we were really happy with what he was doing at home, and then away from home, it was terrible. Couldn't have been any worse, basically, and had one trial as from a stand where he was in against one other two-year-old trotter, so you can imagine it was just a nothing trial, just a jig jog around, and then his next 2 were both from the mobiles where he didn't take part, and so it was kind of a little bit unsure of exactly what we're going to get, but touch wood, his 2 racetrack performances this time in have been first class, so he's a horse with a future if his manners stay intact.
On Trott's Vision, I've asked you a couple of times, but what do you reckon it is about your track? Like you said, you said it's unique, it's different. What do you think it is about your track that makes it so? I don't know. Trotters just seem to be growing legs from your barn.
Look, obviously it's not a conventional sort of track, but we're not the only one that we've got hills in our track, and obviously we know Peter Manning was the first one to sort of make that sort of training, famous basically, and he was no stranger to getting a trotter going. So I think the hills, working up and downhill, is really good for getting horses, one, strengthening them up behind, which I think is very important for trotters, but 2, when they learn to trot downhill as well as uphill, it's very different, and their gait actually changes slightly. So I think once they adapt to that and can adjust to all different sort of directions and inclines and declines, it makes them very solid in their gait. The ones that do handle it and take to it obviously get a lot of benefit from it.
Another one who has, Just Believe, he's loving it. I mean, we do forget though, he was placed in the Inter-Dominion last year. Like usually had him flying anyway, but I think off the back of that, potentially your tracks, he is taking it to another level. You must be super, super excited with the Inter-Dominion knocking.
Yeah, absolutely. No, with both boys, they both make their way through, which they look like they will. We're very excited about it. You're spot on there. It's not as if we've made Just Believe overnight. He came to us a very well-credentialed horse, and I think a few people might have just forgotten that just in recent times, that how talented the horse has been right throughout his career, and has done a really good job, and sort of probably got gifted to us at a perfect time. He's a fully mature racehorse now and ready to take that next step, and thankfully so far we've been able to help him make that progression into the real open class races.
These microphones are good, but hopefully we don't have to worry about Eric. When I say about the Inter-Dominion and the excitement about it though, the one thing about it is a lot of travel involved in it, but anyone that went to Sydney last year, and I couldn't believe the trip from Bathurst to Sydney, anyone that was staying at Menangle, like that trip was brutal. So not just the rigours of the racing, but the actual travel this year, because you've got to race at Shepparton, Geelong and Ballarat as well. So there's a lot of travelling for the horses in that week where they've got to double up. You must be excited to know that you have got a horse that can handle it. And I think last year only got better from all that hard travelling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this series really suited him down to the ground, and he's such a resilient sort of horse. He's a good racehorse, but he's a great horse at home and around the stables. He looks after himself well. So, the Inter-Dominion's obviously a gruelling test as it is, with the quick backup for the 3 heats. But you're right, there's travel involved as well. So obviously interstate and overseas horses that come from New Zealand, it's tough for them, which is what we found. Obviously travelling up to Sydney last year, and it's a challenge not only for the horses but for people as us as trainers as well to manage the horses right and get them through the series best we can. So he got through that series very well last year, and it should be easier for us being at home. So we're really looking forward to it.
Are you looking forward to it as a trainer? And I mean, you just said then you are, so it sounds silly that I'm asking the same question, but this is a unique challenge, and I might be wrong, but you've got a huge hand. This is Talking Trotters, so we're not worrying about the pacing boys, but you're going to have a really, really strong hand in a super carnival, a carnival that should be here, and if they can market it the right way and do it the right way, it still should be here for many, many years to come. It's a great carnival. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Like ever since I was, a real little kid, the Inter Dominion's been number one in my eyes, and it's a race that, I've always wanted to win, and either pacing or trotting gate. And I was fortunate enough to win the Trotters series with Mary Law last year. So that was just a real dream come true, basically, for me as a driver. And so now Jess and I have a team of horses. Touch wood, still got a little bit of water to go under the bridge yet, and there is a lot of water around at the moment. Hopefully we'll be represented in both the trotting and the pacing divisions. So to think that we've got horses that have got live chances in either division is incredible, really.
It is. I think you're doing a huge job. Quickly, Redwood Day on Saturday. Cognati won again yesterday, day before. Anyway, it's just very, very recent, Sunday, so that was 2 days ago. You must be one wrap that she won, because it possibly got her into it, because it's pretty tight to get in. But she's just a lovely horse doing the job. You must be so proud of her.
Yeah, absolutely. No, she's been a real special horse to us right from day one. We took her home from the yearling sales, fell in love with her pretty much day one, and had really high hopes at the start of the year that we had a filly that could be up there with the best of them, and it turns out it's a really strong fillies year this year. I think the 2-year-old fillies look, better than the colts probably as an overall group. So there's a lot of nice fillies around at the moment. But yeah, she's took her a little while to get a run on the board. But having said that, all her runs have been terrific. We sort of haven't been disappointed with her at all. So she's a lovely filly. We got high aspirations that she's going to continue to improve. In the coming months, and obviously as she gets older. So her manners were terrific from the stand the other day, and back row draw for the Redwood could be a bit tricky. It's a race that it's not often that it's a trouble-free race, we'll put it that way. There's always sort of a bit of traffic problems at the start, so that is an issue for us, but touch wood, she's been pretty well managed right throughout her career so far, so hopefully she doesn't get it wrong on Sunday.
It's traditionally that 30-second lag too, isn't it? When everyone looks like they're all but ready, and it just seems to hold for whatever reason. I am picking on the starters. It is just generally the horses. It's generally that little bit of hold up. You got a good drive in the Derby, I think. I can't think of its name. Is it the Derby? No. No, it might be the other trot. No, it might be. You might have one in the Derby by the sounds.
Yeah. I have been mentioned by a trainer that's got multiple runners in there that he may be requiring my services, but I haven't had that confirmed just yet.
You want me to send this to him and just say that you're aware of it, or?
No, he'll work it out soon enough, I think.
All right, mate. Thank you very much for joining me for Talking Trotters. I could talk to you all day about them. You do have to drive another horse in a minute. Appreciate everything you give me, both on Trots Vision and for this, and the whole family. And appreciate it. Look forward to the Inter Dominion. I won't annoy you too much until it's on the back doors, mate. But thank you very much.
No worries at all, Paulie. Always my pleasure.
Rightio. That is Talking Trotters for the week. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Thank you very much to my guests. Congratulations to Katrina Fitzpatrick. I'm not going to go through all of the results for the week. I'm going to be in New Zealand for the next 2 weeks, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to be able to keep up to date with that. Talking Trotters will be still going. Tune in Sunday to Campbell's Comments. I'll be at the Redwood. I'm going to be posting as many interviews as I can during the day with winning connections, not winning drivers, might be winning drivers, but winning connections. Some of the people that have been able to achieve racing on what is a truly great all trotting day, and it's a day to celebrate people that love the Trotters. So I'll be there conducting some interviews. Might even catch up with the guys at Haras the Trotters. Might even bring you the live raffle draw for the free service fee to Honor Streak. As I said, $50 a ticket, 100 tickets are sold. I believe there is still some tickets. It's not a Haras the Trotters, that's a VSTA that are doing that. So contact the guys at the VSTA or go to their website, victrotters.com. And you'll be able to contact them there as well. Don't forget to go to harasthetrotters.com.au to view all of those horses, and you can also see their full stallion roster right here, but plenty of others. Classic Connection, On Solitaire, Used to Me, and On a Streak are all chilled. On Solitaire is in New Zealand only, and then the rest of those guys are frozen as well. And don't forget, book into any of the horses this weekend. On a Streak, Classic Connection, and Used to Me. 5% of your service fee will be donated to the VSTA, donated by Pat Driscoll. Thanks very much for joining me. Different show tonight, a little bit different. That's what I said. It's not always a set pattern the way I do this show, but thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I'll be back on Sunday for Talking Trotters, but it'll be a series of smaller interviews. And then I'll be in New Zealand, so there won't be one happening next Monday night. But the following Monday, there will definitely be one happening in the lead up to the the New Zealand Trotters Cup, which is a pacing race, but also has a Dominion handicap on that same day. So going to be a lot of intrigue, a lot of fun, a lot of talking trotters going ahead. So big thank you to my sponsors, Haras, Trotters, for making this show possible. And good luck to everyone with the trotter racing over the weekend. Hopefully you get some success. Beck Morrissey, congratulations, Sue. Good win at Horsham the other day, Jackie Barker in the bike. So thank you. It's another show for this week, and I will see you all next week.